Rob, we're live again. I think.
Back in the saddle officially. Thanks for letting me bug you. Come on by.
Come on down.
You know, I go for these occasional therapy sessions in the old Metropolitan Magazine headquarters. You help me a lot, so I appreciate your service.
Well, it's been a fun year. I don't know about fun. It's been actually
A year of disasters, disgraces, and disinformation.
very the 3Ds.
3D.
Dumb
Yeah.
Donald Trump.
Dumb, and dumber.
So we're former Republicans,
Yes.
hardcore Republicans that saw the light and said, actually, I'm still pretty kind of conservative, but the Democrats are the only ones giving us some real opportunities to put forth American values because everybody's gone nuts.
Yeah, I mean, I read every book. You know, every conservative, right-wing talk show host of the 90s and 2000s. I read all the books. I was voting that way. Was a John McCain voter, and the party was betraying me more and more and more as it got along. And in the age of Trump, it just became a complete disaster.
What about the last month? The voice of the Republican Party sensibility is Taylor Greene.
Is that right? Marjorie Taylor Greene is the sensibility candidate. Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene is the Epstein files cover up was a little bit too much for her. Which why don't we open up with that?
All right,
because in this year of disgraces, disasters, and disinformation, our president has co-opted the entire federal government into helping him do a cover-up, an obvious cover-up of the FBI and DOJ's files on one Jeffrey Epstein. Not a good dude.
No, and it's been documented forever. They held back the information. Once again, they've been given a direct order and they failed to comply.
It's a law. So the law and order president is now in violation of the law that passed with one of the biggest bipartisan majorities in history.
Only one person didn't vote for it, right?
Yeah, you know, everyone has their reasons. A meaningless nobody who says that it can be used for the wrong reasons, blah, blah, blah. But it's one House member is the only person that voted against this in both houses.
You know, we can't be surprised. We got a president who's a rapist. We got his stolen stuff.
So he was found liable in court for sexual abuse. The judge himself had determined that the colloquial term rape applies to these circumstances that he was found liable for.
And the same judge also sits in judgment of actual rape cases.
Exactly.
For felonies. Yeah. And he said it would have been the same. It didn't matter because he was found guilty unanimously, even by the Trump voters on that panel.
So in that particular case, Eugene Carroll, he was found liable for defaming her, and she could not recall the exact measure of which he violated her. It was a hole in the New York state law that has not been fixed. They've now updated the law between sexual abuse and rape. Had they had the updated definitions in the laws that they had then, it would be rape. Technically, schmecknically, just want to say he forced himself on a woman in a dressing room, and he decided to now co-opt the entire federal government to cover up the Epstein files. Thank God for the bipartisan support of releasing the Epstein files, though, to be frank, it was the Democratic Party. Nobody signed on to that discharge petition but 3 Republicans. It was Marjorie Taylor Greene, the voice of reason, Thomas Macy, and the one who's running around in her bathrobe at the gas station in North Carolina. So, but yeah, so then everyone voted for it once it was going to pass. This Epstein files thing is a disaster. It's everything, you know what's crazy? It's everything the MAGA has been saying. So MAGA was proven right that there is an elitist underage sex trafficking ring. And then once they found out their boy was involved, they stopped caring. So like MAGA should be taking a victory lap. We got it. Listen, they went to a pizza store. They went to Comet Pizza or something and shot some people. But I mean, they got the end of the day, they were right about this Epstein thing, and you got to hand it to them. Now, let's get let's get justice for the victims. Let's hold the perpetrators accountable, and hold the people engaging in the cover accountable.
All right.
I would say the worst thing, but we have several others.
So Epstein Gate, we've covered that for this year.
Epstein
let's talk about what we want to talk about. So we'll talk about Trump family crypto. We want to talk about the death of USAID. We want to talk about goofy, stupid pardons to criminals
and corrupt pardons to criminals.
And basically, you can buy your pardon now. ICE raids, terrible.
Just a disgrace. Utter abuse of government power in every way.
And tariffs. We got to cover some tariffs. So pick which one you want to go with.
Let's go for, like, we're going disgraces. Let's go to ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement Agency, which is a redundant federal agency that has not existed at all before the post 9/11 period, and has had 30 people die in their custody, has arrested and detained hundreds of American citizens, and has also gotten something about 70 or more % of their detainees have not been convicted of a crime.
That's a heck of a record.
That's not what people wanted. When you poll people about immigration and border patrol, what they want is gang members, violent cartel members taken off the streets.
No, let's go after the grandmothers and kids in elementary schools.
People going to their immigration hearings. ICE is camping out at your, so they're doing it the right way. The Republicans demanded you gotta do it the right way, you gotta do it the right way, and now they're sending masked thugs to immigration hearings, to churches, to schools, to construction sites.
And they got this pedophiles in the ICE team.
They have no standards. They've dropped the standards for hiring these people, and now they've raised ICE's, because of the big ugly bill, which we can't even get to cover because there's so much other crap. ICE has a higher budget than pretty much every other federal agency, by far. They took your healthcare subsidy money and they gave it to masked thugs to torment abuelas.
I mean, not a huge surprise. If you say you're gonna go for the worst, then you have to go after elementary school kids, grandmothers, people who are actually in the process of naturalizing. They're following the rules, as you said.
Following rules.
And what happens? They pardon and they give a blank check to dictators and people who are actual drug
traffickers. So that's the part. So to go after drug traffickers, he's pardoning drug traffickers. The Silk Road guy he pardoned. The former president of Honduras, who was the Sinaloa cartel's best friend, he pardoned. Donald Trump, I think, wants to get his beak wet on drug cartel money. In my opinion, I can't base that on anything but my opinion and knowing of the man and doing my doctorate in his life.
They've got taking cash under the table. The FBI catches them, and the Trump administration looks the other direction.
And it was absolutely ridiculous. On film, we've seen it. No one's been fired. No one's been reprimanded. No accountability has ever come. And they're still lying about those circumstances. That his own FBI that he runs, a podcaster, runs the FBI. His own FBI launched a sting operation in the border czar, Tom Homan. And no, he's not fired. He's going to keep his job too. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. It just shows rampant corruption. And you know what else?
He only used the flights to take care of his girlfriend.
Oh, Cash Patel. Yeah. Yes, Cash Patel used FBI resources and FBI personnel to help protect his girlfriend and escort them to concerts. He now has a fleet of bulletproof BMWs apparently on the way.
That's good use.
Yeah, I know. And you can't catch a mass shooter to save his life. The entire administration is a joke. I mean, every single person he's appointed to this administration is a disaster. Find me the credible option. They don't exist. The Attorney General is so corrupt, nakedly corrupt, that Republicans and Democrats in the House are going to impeach her. This is how crazy it's going in this administration. A year of disgraces, a year of disasters, and a year of disinformation. But it's all about rampant corruption. Since he's pardoned every single U.S. politician that you could think of that has been indicted or corrupted for public corruption.
And pardoning. Now you can get your pardons by paying for them if you're a foreign official. If you're a corrupt person, if you've been jailed for pedophilia, if you've been jailed for drug addictions or drug trafficking, you can do all kinds of stuff by just asking and befriending the President of the United States. It's very transactional. At least it's straightforward. You know what you can do.
Yeah. You say nice things about Trump and you'd be surprised what can happen. We all say nice things about Trump. Or if you buy Trump family crypto, which is another thing we're going to talk about because he's had families of donors get their families pardoned by contributing to his PACs and buying Trump family crypto. So Trump family, right before the inauguration, probably a day or so, a little bit less before the inauguration, launched a meme coin scam. And if you know anything about meme coin scams, it basically is selling access to the President of the United States because there is no tangible value to the Trump family meme coins. The only reason to buy Trump family meme coins, Trump family crypto, is access to the President of the United States. And if you look into that, there are countless examples of people getting favorable treatment who have also contributed to Trump family meme coin, whether it's the founder of ByteDance, whether it's the UAE. Lots of examples of open corruption in the Trump administration, while also gutting U.S. government efforts to tackle open corruption.
Now, what I find really fascinating, talking about this corruption and just the misuse of funds, is the MAGA base, a lot of farmers, the heartland of the U.S., they got totally screwed over by tariffs.
Again.
They couldn't run for the first time, so they voted him in, and then he screwed them again. Then we didn't. First, they can't sell their soybeans, they can't sell their wheat, they can't sell all these different products because the market is dried up. And so the trade war has gone disgusting. But of course, instead of helping the farmers, he bails out.
Oh, Argentina. So the farmers were going to get a little something. Donald Trump sent double of that to his buddy, the radical right leader of Argentina, the Superman guy who ran around with his little guitar, his little chainsaw with Elon, who ran his country into the ground, now got reelected. Awesome, real shady stuff. But again, it all ties into corruption because the tariffs are being used in corrupt fashion. The only reason the president of the United States has tariff power unilaterally without Congress is based on emergency. I think there has to be national security implications, there has to be economic emergencies. That's why the president has this power. And I believe even the most nakedly corrupt Supreme Court that we've ever seen will strip Trump of these powers because it's just impossible. He's using them corrupt and political ends every single time. There's no mathematical economic basis for these things. And they've been corrupt. They've been corrupted. But the thing you're saying is right. He's wrecking American farming.
Now tell me about this. Do you respect American veterans?
Yeah, of course. My grandfather was one.
People who have been in the Army, people who have been in the Navy, the Marines, the Air Force, the Space Force. Now, they have now come back, and for all this time served, Trump has given them supposedly a bonus.
Oh,
where did this come from?
The 1776 dividend was actually pre-approved by Congress as part of a housing stipend, and he's taking that money away from the housing stipend and turning it into income for our troops, which then they will be taxed on. So in effect, they'll get less of that. But it's nothing he did special, and it's definitely not coming from tariff money. Every single time the tariff income goes up and up and up, oh, we're making trillions of dollars in tariffs, oh, they're making trillions of dollars in investments. None of it's true. At the same time, Donald Trump is telling you on TV that foreign countries are paying tariffs. They are in the Supreme Court right now admitting that the United States consumers pay tariffs. I've never seen a worse policy ever. It's horrible for the U.S. economy. It's horrible for our trade relations. It's horrible for our partnerships across the world. And it's going to take a decade, maybe two, to crawl out of the hole that Donald Trump's put us in.
As a former Republican, getting angry because every time I see the economy, the Republicans destroy it, then they have to elect a moderate Democrat to take over and fix it, but that takes a lot longer time. And I wanted to
my entire life, I'm 40. That's happened. That exact pattern has played out every single Republican president wrecks it, Democrat president fix it. Sorry to be loyal, but I like results, and results speak for themselves.
So how do we fight back?
How do we fight back? We fight back in a number of ways. We are fighting back in a number of ways. People who want justice, people who want fairness, people who want a society that is an a society that tries to be more equal and less blatantly in favor of billionaires. The way we could do that is the number one thing is my personal favorite thing that we've done and succeeded at is boycotts. Boycotting is super important. If you see organizations that are not holding up to your standards of justice and the law and actual human decency, you are allowed to vote with your dollar. You don't have to go to Target. You don't have to buy a Tesla. You don't have to watch CBS News. You can do what you want to do, and I believe it's the most number one effective way because America's corporations do not have a history of being brave.
No.
They have to learn from their consumers. We are their consumers. Let's show them the way. The second thing that's super critical and on par with boycotting is voting, making sure you're registered to vote. There's active attempts right now to purge voter rolls. There's active attempts right now at voter suppression. You can't allow this government and his cult party to do that to you. Make sure you're registered to vote. Make sure you've requested your absentee ballot. Make sure you're ready to go.
Every year.
Every single year, it's totally legal. It's completely reasonable to register to vote every single year using your federal postcard. You can get it on votefromabroad.org, which is our personal favorite site, but there are government websites that you can run through. But it's critical to make sure that you can have your voice heard. Last November was a bit of a wake-up call. I love that it's a blue tsunami. I expect nothing different in this midterms. If we all stick together, if we all show unity, and if we all demand that this stops, we have a once-in-a-lifetime chance in the midterms, and let's take it.
All right, let's go out there. Make sure you vote.
Yes.
Be careful if you are afraid of being denaturalized. Take it seriously.
Seriously, they're in the Supreme Court right now trying to gut trying to gut birthright citizenship right at this moment. So pay attention.
Excellent.
Adios.